Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we're going to be taking a look at the CJRB Maileah. Now, before we get any farther into this knife, before I even pick this knife up, I want to stop and thank everybody. Today, I hit 300 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Compared to other YouTubers, that's a very small number, but considering where I am and starting this channel and the fact that it's only been a couple months, I couldn't be more happy where it's at. If you guys are watching this and you're not subscribed, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I give you my word, I will keep pumping out some good content. Now, this knife here. Before I even put my hand next to this knife, just take another quick look at it, because this is one of the most deceiving knives I think I've ever seen when it comes to size. I saw the specs, I knew it wasn't going to be real big, but when I got it, I was even more surprised at how small it was. So, here we go. Look at this thing. Now, as you can see there, it's small, but it is a fidget machine. It is a front flipper. It has thumb studs that are absolutely a joy. It is an absolutely gorgeous design. I've got a lot of really good things to say about this. Before I start saying them all, let's go over some specs and let's get started. We have an overall length of 5.51 inches, a close length of 3.14 inches, blade length at 2.39 inches, blade thickness at 0.09 inches. CJRB is calling this a sand polish, which, I mean, to me, it's basically just a satin finish, a very nice satin finish. A flat grind. This blade is using their AR RPM 9 steel, which is a newer steel that is supposed to be a more corrosion resistant and hold a good edge as compared to blades like D2. So, better corrosion resistance is always a very good thing for me. As you can see right there, it's mentioning the steel. Now, the blade style, they're calling this a Wharncliffe. I'll talk more about this a little later. I kind of beg to differ on the Wharncliffe blade, but we're using G10 handle material, ceramic bearings, a total weight of 2.29 ounces, so very light in the pocket. And the price. Now, this price here, this is actually, as you probably saw down here on the steel, right there, this is a proto. This is indeed a proto. So the price I paid for this is $45.69, which is what it was listed for on CJRB's website. And I'll tell you right now, if they can keep that price somewhere between $40 and $50, this knife is a steal at that price point. And I mean an absolute steal. So without any further ado, let's do some size comparisons here to get you a little even better idea of just exactly what we're looking at here in size. So, got some bigger ones here. There is this TRM Atom, along with the Paramilitary 2. So again, very, very, pretty big difference there. The disparity in size is pretty noticeable. But again, it's, I tell you what, for such a small knife, it packs a lot of knife. I gotta say, I like it a lot. I really do. We'll go a little smaller in size. The CJRB, the Civivi Elementum, as well as the Benchmade Bug Out. Again, not real close, doesn't really measure up, but again, this is just to give you guys a good idea of the size of this little guy, or little girl, as we'll talk more about the designer of this knife here in a second as well. And now I'm going to bring out a couple that I think are very good comparisons, and they both remind me a lot of this knife. First, the Kaiser Mini Sheepdog, as well as one of my all-time favorite front flippers, the Civivi McKenna. So, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, this Maileah right here is kind of what you would get if the McKenna and the Mini Sheepdog had a little baby girl, baby in general. But I see a lot of traits from both these knives in this one here. The Maileah kind of feels in hand a little more like the Sheepdog, with just a little less at the end. It has a blade somewhat similar to the Sheepdog. It has phenomenal front flipping action like the McKenna, as well as when it's folded up, you just have what I think is just a really attractive design, even folded up. I like the way the front flipper tab is set, and it just kind of has some characteristics of the McKenna in it, as far as I'm concerned. It has nice lines, kind of its own different lines. This is actually an Elijah Isham design, which we all know he has his own certain style that he does a very good job of staying true to. But this one here, too, it's attractive. It's a very attractive piece, closed and open, and it's just, there's a lot of good things to say about it. So let's start saying them. Actually, let's talk a little about the designer. So the designer of this knife is Swags. I don't even know her real full name, but she is a YouTube personality. She's on Instagram. You can look her up at Sharp and Pointy Swags. She is a female in the knife industry, and I looked her up recently when I got the knife. These stupid gnats. She looked like she put some time in at Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and now kind of sounds like she's doing her own thing, doing a really good job of it. If she designed this, she's well on her way, because this is a phenomenal design with CJRB that came on with her and said, hey, let's make a knife. They did. And the moment this came out on Instagram, I really, really, really liked the design of this. I like the lines. I like the blade shape. I like the color accents. I like the G10, the clip. It really stood out to me. I wanted to get one as soon as I could. And when I was up in the UP camping, I got a little reception for a second. I hopped on Instagram, and I saw that CJRB had a couple of the protos listed, and I hopped on it like a dog on a dropped hot dog at a campfire, and it was mine. And I really couldn't be happier I grabbed this, because I'm loving it more and more the more it's in my hand. Like I said, this is a proto. I really hope whatever changes, if any changes they make to this, that they're minor, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a lot of changes this knife needs. It's fantastic. Let's start with the blade. Perfect, almost perfect centering, about as good as you can really. I mean, it's favoring the clip side just a hair. I'm pretty picky with blade centering, and to me, this doesn't bother me one bit. It might as well be perfectly centered. It's close enough for me. Very well built, very unique, attractive blade shape. It's kind of like like I said, they called it a Warncliffe. I'm not gonna go with Warncliffe at all. To me, it's looking somewhere in between a sheep's foot and a cleaverish, sheep's footy, whatever you want to call it. To me, it looks a little more like a cleaver, but it's got the cutting power of a sheep's foot. It's got just a nice tip, kind of a beefy up top, and it comes down to a little finer tip here. Just a really nice overall grind and design. Has perfect jimping on the flipper tab, almost perfect. It could be a little more aggressive for me, but it does the job just fine. It feels good. Doesn't tear your finger up at all. Some jimping can get a little aggressive on your finger. It works like a charm. I really like the red thumb stud. This red, it's worth noting, it's not like your typical dark red you see on a lot of scales. It's kind of like but it's really close. I would call it like a candy apple red. It almost like it has that extra little hint of flare pop brightness, I guess. But it's really good. It fits really well with the black. But I still wouldn't call it, I wouldn't say that Sith look, where you got the black and red going, because the red, it just has that extra little hue that kind of takes it away from the dark, sinister Sith red. But it's still a great combo. Really, really like it a lot. It's a heck of a lot better than just your typical, OD green or tan. Black and red is always a good pairing. It's nice to see on a knife. The placement, the logo placement on this knife of everything from the maker's mark to the CJRB, it's nice in size, and even more importantly, it's placed right. Like the Swags maker mark, which I think is really cool. It's all of her personality right there, which I like. They could have put that somewhere real annoying. They could have put it down here on the grind, and it would have been terrible. But they put it in a great spot up here to where it's noticeable, it stands out, and it's not an eyesore. I think it complements the knife, so I like that. I like it being there. And the CJRB logo is always pretty cool, no problem there. And they put it small enough. Sometimes CJRB can billboard the CJRB brand too big on the blade. They didn't do that here. They did this all right, so I really like that. The handle and ergos, you know, for this knife, for being such a small knife, and I have, you know, I don't know, large hands, whatever, not small hands, but I still get a really good grip. It's a full 3 fingers for me, and that's even going right under the, above the little palm swell here and putting my thumb on it like this. I still have a really good grip. No hot spot from the clip. The clip falls like right in the crack of my fingers here, so it just sits in there just right, and the jimping works really well on your thumb. So it's just really good for any kind of power cutting, or, you know, you could even get up there and do some detailed draw cuts. Very good ergos. You can also choke up a little if you need to, which, excuse me, I'm trying to blow this stinking gnat away. Just all fits really good. It's a really, really nice little package. Definitely the best ergos on a knife this small I've ever had in my hands. That's for sure. Now, granted, I don't have a lot of knives this small, but this one's definitely sticking around. I'm going to guarantee you that right now. But like I said before, it reminds me of the Sheepdog when it comes to the ergos, which I like. I really like the Sheepdog. The mini Sheepdog was the first little knife that I really truly enjoyed, and a lot of it was because of the ergos, because I still got a lot of knife in my hand and it felt good. And I get that exact same thing with this, only in my opinion, this is a much more attractive design than the mini Sheepdog. And I really like the design of the mini Sheepdog, so that says a lot for this guy. The palm swell here at the bottom has a lot to do with it. It just takes up so much of your hand, especially if you have a bigger hand. You're going to really appreciate that, and it just gives you a nice, solid purchase. The only thing I will say about the ergos is I wish the G10 was a little thicker. Not that it's flimsy or anything. It's strong enough. I mean, I have no durability concerns here whatsoever. I just really wish the G10 was a little thicker. Then it would be perfect in my hand. But like I said, it's still pretty damn good the way it is. So no real gripes there, but I do wish the G10 was a little thicker. Now I want to take a second here to point out pocket clip perfection again. This reminds me a lot of the Banter, as everyone knows about that knife by now, I'm sure. Look at that. Recessed screws, recessed clip, nothing in the way, nice ramp, plenty enough room for the thickest of hem. It's a perfect pocket clip, and I wish every knife had a clip like this. But they don't. That's another reason why this knife is that much cooler than a lot of other knives. Really, really like that. Anytime I see this on a knife, it's going to be instant, huge, cool points, and it's going to bump it up on my scale of just exactly what I think of it, because it carries perfect. It carries completely out of the way. Being a front flipper, there's no pocket pecker, so that is always a great thing. I'm also a really big fan of the wood grainy finish on the G10. I can't say I want that on all my G10, because then it would probably start to get boring and just look like all the rest, but you don't see it on all of them, and I really love it on this one too. It just looks really good, complements the overall kind of vibes on the knife. Just a nice texture, a nice little added pop to the appearance of it. And it also has a really nice little hidden lanyard spot. And I'll be damned if I didn't almost miss this the first time I looked at it. I was so enamored with, the front flipping action and just how well the thumb studs worked. I was just messing around with the knife in general, and I looked at the clip, and I thought that was awesome. And then I was like, oh, hey, a lanyard hole, hidden lanyard hole. So that's nice. That is, I'm not a huge lanyard guy, but a lot of people are. And, you could put a pretty cool lanyard on this and really make it pop. So it's nice to have that and also not have the gaudy, hole sticking somewhere in between here, down here. It's just not in the way. So that's pretty cool. Very well thought out placement of something, and also did a good job of making it low key. So that is great. And now the bread and butter, the cherry on top, what makes this knife probably, I don't know, there's so many things, but the action on this knife is perfect. It is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I try not to use that word a lot, because I almost always notice that there's room for improvement on things. But I gotta say, even for this small of a blade, as you guys can see, it's a small knife, thin blade, and it's still, it drops shut. It drops shut, and one little shake, and it's closed. It is absolutely amazing. It just goes to speak for the precision of the knife, the overall balance of it, and most importantly, just everything executed. When everything is executed that well and put together with that much accuracy and precision, this is what you get. Let me wipe that blade off a little real quick. Get my finger smudgings on it. But again, and it has a nice little opening. It's a little recessed here to where when you go to push in on the lock bar, the liner lock, it just falls right down and it's closed. Just phenomenal action. You can do the reach around. My hands are getting a little sweaty from being behind the camera, but you can do the reach around. You can do the middle finger flick. You can do the thumb stud, and it's all just as easy as the other. It's a fidget king. Well, we'll call it a fidget queen, but no, it's just, this one's knocked out of the park, guys. There's nothing that I would change to this. The only other thing that I would like to see on this, and like I said, I wouldn't be changing this one, but I would love to see a bigger model of this. I really would. Not huge, but just like I said, this is a 2.39 inch blade. I'd love to see a 3 to 3.25 inch blade. I would still like it just as much as this one, though. I have nothing wrong with the size of this, but I just feel like a little bigger one would be just as nice as this one. But no, my overall thoughts are just wow. Swags, you absolutely crushed this one. This was a first at bat home run. Nothing bad to say. And I'm really happy about that because I reviewed a couple lately that they've been good, but they haven't been wow good. And this is the first thought with this was wow. Wow, it's not going anywhere. I'm keeping this one probably forever. For me, I do like bigger knives, but I also like my fifth pocket knife. I would call this the perfect fifth pocket knife. I really would, because I like the fidget factor. I like the looks. I like the uniqueness of it. And you put this in your fifth pocket, and it's like it's not even there. It's really like it's not even there. It's actually inspiring me to do a top 10 of my favorite fifth pocket knives. And I think I will do that here pretty soon, because I got some good ones. But I got to say, I think this one takes the cake. It really does. I could not be more impressed with this knife. I love it. For the $40 to $50 price range, it's an absolute home run. And CJRB, you better make a lot of these. You better make a lot and be ready for these things to sell when they do come out. Don't change anything to them unless you want to make the G10 just a little tad thicker, which you really don't even need to do. Keep them the way they are. These are amazing. I really can't say enough nice things about this. This is gonna be on my Instagram a lot, guys. You're gonna see this one a lot because I'm addicted to this. I'm gonna carry this and I'm gonna carry my 80/20 together, and I'm going to be one happy guy. But no, all in all, just a phenomenal knife. What do you guys think about this? Let me know. How much of you? I love front flippers. What do you guys? Who out there is as big of a front flipper nut as I am? But I love the double deployment methods. The thumb studs and the front flipper are absolutely perfect. Perfect. So again, swags, keep them coming, girl. Wish you nothing but the best. And CJRB, ramp it up. Put these little guys or gals out there because they're gonna get eaten up. That's all I got for you today, guys. I will be back tomorrow with another new review. Until then, take care and stay sharp. Bye.